Are you holding on to your past? So over the years, I have had a lot of problems with my bowels and frequency. And that all started in around about the 2010s. So it's like was about 2010. And I never really understood or knew why it started then, because I was always consistent. I always went to the toilet at set times. My body was kind of self-regulated in that sense. And so I've tried a number of different things over the years. The first thing that I tried was a bowel cleanse, because I thought, well, maybe my body's just full of crap. You know, I'd been on various medications. I'd had, you know, in my earlier years, I'd had a condition which, you know, caused my immune system to attack my nerves and so on and so forth. So I'd had a fair few conditions. I'd been on a lot of high dosage of medication. I'd done a lot of reading, and I figured out, well, maybe it's because my body's full of toxins and I need to get rid of the toxins. So I found a natural protocol to do a detox. And it took a bit of time, but I started to get myself back into consistency over a period of time. I was off the natural supplements, and I was going not as I would have done before, but I was consistent. And so that was fine. And then over a period of time, in the past sort of, I would say 5 to 6 years, and this kind of came up as I went into new employment and stuff. It was quite stressful. I was still in that employment, and I started to develop problems with my bowel over that period of time as well. So health has been a continuous concern of mine, and it's been something that I've always been doing in the background. And recently, as I've done more and more work on myself, you know, I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's not just about doing something out here. It's about what we do inside of us, right? Because there's a core issue or a problem that is causing us, for example, not to go to the toilet, right? To hold on to things. So the representation of holding on to the past is basically held within the bowel, not going to the toilet. And so my question was, what am I holding on to? And so I was holding on to, you know, maybe a lot of different things. You know, my main premise was I didn't want to upset anybody. And the reason, by going to the toilet at a time that my body wanted to, I wanted to control my body and make it go when I thought it was safe to go, right? So, and that was because I didn't want to get a negative response from somebody. I wanted to do what I was told, and so on and so forth. And so this has kind of followed me through life, right? It's been with me through childhood and so on and so forth. And so it was the emotional aspect. And so this week I made a choice because I've been on these tablets, these bowel tablets, and they've kept me fairly consistent, but it's been irregular, and I've been suffering from, you know, quite a few issues with my bowels, like gas and things like that. So in a sense, I was still holding my body from doing what it would naturally do. And so I thought this week, what happens if I come off those tablets and then I develop some trust in my body to do what it naturally does, but I also give it the space to do what it naturally does. And then I be with the emotions that come up, right? So instead of trying to stuff the emotions down and ignore them or chastise them for being there, I be with those emotions. And this is a bit sort of far out. Maybe it's a bit far out for some of you guys who are like, what the hell is he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. And I'll be able to explain this better at some later stage, right? But I think that was what I was doing anyway. And, so the trust in my body to do what it needs to do, to be there for the emotions that are coming up and allow them to be there, which means feeling them, right? So I went through that process this week, and it was unpleasant because there were a lot of emotions and feelings that I'd not wanted to deal with because I didn't know how. And, but in a sense, just being there for those emotions, there was discomfort in my body. I wanted to take the tablets to relieve the symptoms so I could get on with what I was doing without having to acknowledge what was going on inside of me. So, and so by listening to my body, I was listening to the responses that my body gives. When you need to go to the toilet, usually your body tells you, right? So I know that if I need to go to the toilet, my bladder tells me, and that is one part of my body that is functioning quite well. So it tells me when I need to go to the toilet. You get sensation, and it's exactly the same, or was exactly the same with my bowel, right? It used to give me a sensation. I knew I needed to go to the toilet, and I listened to it. And so I thought, so now I'm listening to my body, and I'm also allowing these emotions to come up. And what happened is that I had a couple of occasions where I was going this week, but it was very few and far between. I felt stuffed, I felt uncomfortable, I felt really kind of bloated. And then through that decision or that choice to listen to the body, I started to feel the triggers from my body. The body was saying that I need to go to the toilet, and then it wouldn't, and then it wouldn't, and then it wouldn't. And then today it did, right? So I felt the trigger. I thought, oh, okay, my body wants to go to the toilet now, so I'll go to the toilet. And so that was a kind of revelation for me. I mean, I'm in the early stages again of this, right? So there's still more to do, right? But it's not about having a condition on the body or controlling it to do something. It's about you sitting back and listening to your body, what your body wants to do, which is difficult when you have things to do, in a sense, that require you to say, no, body, you're going to have to wait until I finish this. So yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. That's kind of what I did differently about the situation, and that was the end result. And so there are going to be some times in your life where you can't do that. But the point is that for me, it's about that sort of balancing act between what I can do in the moment and what I'm maybe have to make adjustments for. And also listening to my emotions and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me, guys. It's been a long video. Yeah, I guess I'll speak to you next week.